The first encounter, the Terran research ship Odyssey drifted through the cold silence of space. It was a small vessel compared to the great warships of the human fleet, but its crew was proud. They were explorers, not soldiers. Their mission was to study a strange asteroid field at the edge of known space. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge, hands behind his back, eyes fixed on the main screen. The asteroid field shimmered in the light of a distant sun. It looked peaceful, but in space, peace was often a lie. Anything unusual? Ward asked, his voice calm. Nothing yet, Captain, replied Ensign Marlowe from the sensor station. But I'm picking up faint energy readings from deeper inside the field. Ward nodded. Keep scanning. The Odyssey had been here for 2 days, mapping the rocks, collecting samples. It was routine work, the kind that could make even experienced crew members relax too much. Then it happened. A deep alarm rang through the ship, red lights flashing across the bridge. Contact! Marlowe shouted. Something's coming out of the asteroid field, fast. The crew rushed to their stations. Ward stepped closer to the screen, his jaw tightening. From the shadows of the asteroids, a massive shape emerged. It was a warship. Unlike anything human eyes had seen before, its black hull seemed to drink in the light, and strange red lines pulsed across its surface like veins. No one needed to check the database to know what it was. The stories had spread across the galaxy for centuries. The Harrower, a predator of the stars. The being who commanded this ship had destroyed whole civilizations. It was said that no one had ever met the Harrower and lived to speak of it. Should we run, Captain? Asked Lieutenant Vega, her voice tight. Ward didn't answer at once. Running might only provoke it. Fighting was not even an option. The Odyssey had no weapons that could scratch a ship like that. The bridge fell into silence as the alien vessel drifted closer. It stopped a few hundred kilometers away, close enough to strike. Everyone waited for the first shot. Instead, a voice filled the ship, deep and cold. It came through the comms without warning, and it spoke in perfect English. Terran vessel, the voice said. I am Karzul, last of the Harrowers. I come not for war. I seek knowledge. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. Knowledge? From humans? Ward leaned toward the comms panel. What kind of knowledge? There was a pause. Then the alien spoke words no one expected. I wish to understand. Human reproduction. For a moment, the bridge was frozen. Vega frowned. Did it just say? Yes, Ward interrupted, his tone sharp. He was trying to hide the unease creeping up his spine. Why would the most feared killer in the galaxy want to know about something so personal? I will speak only with one who has full knowledge of your kind's life cycle, the alien continued. If you refuse, I will take the knowledge by force. The temperature on the bridge seemed to drop. Marlowe swallowed hard. Sir, this could be a trap. Ward knew it could be. The Harrower could destroy them in seconds, but it hadn't. That meant it wanted something badly enough to hold its fire. Ward opened a channel to the medical bay. Dr. Lena Carter, report to the bridge immediately. Within minutes, the ship's chief biologist stepped in. She was tall, sharp-eyed, and not easily frightened. What is it, Captain? She asked. Ward gave her a short explanation. Her eyebrows rose, but she didn't laugh or hesitate. I'll talk to it, she said simply. The crew stared at her like she had lost her mind. Doctor, Vega began. You do understand this thing could? Yes, Lena said, cutting her off. But if it wanted us dead, we would already be dead. Ward gave her a slow nod. Open a secure channel to the Harrower, he ordered. The screen flickered, and then it appeared. Karzul. The alien's body was covered in black armor that looked grown rather than built. Its eyes were molten gold, glowing faintly. Its head tilted slightly as it studied Lena. You are the one who will teach me? It asked. I am Dr. Lena Carter, she said, her voice steady. I can explain what you want to know. But you must tell me why you want this knowledge. The alien was silent for several seconds. When it spoke again, its tone was lower, almost sad, because I am the last. My kind will end with me. Unless I learn from you. The words hung in the air. The Harrower, the destroyer of worlds, was asking for help. No one on the bridge could believe it, and yet there was something in its voice, something almost human, a trace of desperation. Ward's mind raced. Helping this creature could be dangerous beyond imagining, but refusing might be worse. Lena glanced at the captain, then back at Karzal. "All right," she said slowly. "I will teach you." The alien's golden eyes brightened. But before Lena could speak again, the ship's sensors blared another alarm. Marlowe's voice was urgent. "Captain! Multiple contacts, several ships entering the asteroid field." Karzal turned his head, as if listening to something only he could hear. "They are my enemies," he said quietly. "If they find us, they will kill you." "And me." The bridge filled with tension. Ward knew this was only the beginning. And whatever happened next would decide all their fates. An unlikely agreement. The enemy ships moved like shadows through the asteroid field. Each one was sharp and predatory, their silver hulls catching faint starlight. They were smaller than Karzal's massive warship, but there were many of them. Predators hunting a predator. Captain Ward didn't take his eyes off the tactical screen. "How long until they reach us?" he asked. 6 minutes, maybe less," Marlowe said. "They're coming straight for our position." Lena Carter stood at the center of the bridge, her gaze shifting between the captain and the alien's image on the screen. Karzal's golden eyes burned like molten metal, but his voice stayed cold. "They will not speak to you. They will kill you for being near me." "Why?" Lena asked. The alien's head tilted slightly. "Because I have killed many of them. They wish for revenge. Their hate is pure." The crew exchanged tense glances. This wasn't just a problem for the Harrower. It was now a problem for the Odyssey. Ward's mind worked quickly. The alien had the weapons to crush these attackers, but would it protect them? "You said you wanted knowledge," Ward said, stepping closer to the screen. "You help us survive this, and we'll give you what you want." There was a long silence. Karzal didn't blink, didn't move. Then his voice came. Quiet but edged with something dangerous. "If I agree, you will not lie to me. You will give me the truth. The full truth. No human tricks." Ward didn't flinch. "You have my word," Lena added. "And mine." The alien leaned forward slightly, his massive form filling more of the screen. "Then we have an agreement." The connection cut without warning seconds. Later, the Harrower's ship shifted position, moving between the Odyssey and the incoming enemy fleet. It was like a black wall of death sliding into place on the Odyssey's bridge, tension mixed with disbelief. "He's protecting us," Vega said softly. "Or using us as bait," Marlowe muttered. Lena didn't speak. Her eyes stayed fixed on the alien ship. There was something strange about Karzal, something she couldn't name. Yes, he was dangerous. Yes, he had killed countless beings, but she could feel a strange threat in him, not kindness, but Mead. "Captain," Marlowe said suddenly, "we're getting a private message, audio only." Ward nodded. "Put it through." It was Karzal's voice. "Dr. Carter, when this is over, you will come to my ship. We will speak face to face. No screens. No barriers." Lena's stomach tightened. Her instincts screamed that stepping onto his ship would be a risk she might not return from. But her mind whispered something else. This was the kind of opportunity no human had ever had. To look the galaxy's most feared being in the eye and learn its secrets. Before she could answer, the first enemy ship broke from the asteroid cover. Bright blue weapons fire lit up the darkness. The Harrower's ship moved with sudden speed, unleashing a blast that tore the attacker in half. The other ships scattered, but not far. They were committed. The battle had begun, and so had an uneasy alliance. The lesson begins. The battle was over in less than 10 minutes. The Harrower's warship had ripped through the attackers like claws through paper. Now the asteroid field was silent again. Silent. Except for the message that appeared on the Odyssey's screen. "Dr. Carter, come now." It wasn't a request. It was a command. Lena stood at the airlock, wearing a slim pressure suit. The crew watched her as if she were walking to her own execution. Captain Ward's voice was low. "You don't have to do this." "Yes, I do," Lena said, pulling on her helmet, because deep inside, she knew this wasn't just about biology. It was about finding out why the most feared killer in the galaxy was desperate for human knowledge. The small shuttle crossed the short distance between the Odyssey and the Harrower's ship. Up close, the alien vessel was even more unsettling. Its black hull wasn't smooth metal. It looked like living skin, shifting slightly, breathing. Her shuttle landed inside a massive bay, and the doors sealed shut behind her with a sound. Like grinding bone, she stepped out. The air was thicker, warmer, carrying a faint metallic taste. The walls around her pulsed with dim red light, like veins under skin. There were no crew to greet her, only silence. Then, from the shadows, Karzal appeared. He was taller than she had imagined almost. 3 meters, his armor looked fused to his body, and his golden eyes locked onto her like a predator studying prey. Yet, there was no immediate attack. Instead, he turned and walked away, his voice echoing through the strange chamber. "Follow," Lena obeyed. They walked through long corridors that seemed to twist and shift. Sometimes the walls moved slightly, as if alive. She realized this ship was not built, it was grown. It felt less like walking inside a machine, and more like walking inside the body of a giant beast. Finally, they entered a circular room. In the center was a table, not metal, but some kind of black stone. Around it were strange devices, sharp and organic, their purpose unclear. Karzal stood at the far side, his voice low. "You will tell me everything. Begin." Lena took a slow breath. "You need to understand. For humans, reproduction isn't just survival. But Karzal raised a hand. "No, not words like love or care. Those are lies to make weakness sound noble. I want the process, step by step." It was clear. He didn't trust emotions. To him, feelings were a flaw, so Lena started with the basics, explaining the human reproductive system in the simplest terms. Karzal listened without moving, his eyes never leaving hers. But as she spoke, she noticed something strange. His breathing slowed, and his gaze softened slightly. She realized he wasn't just hearing the biology. He was trying to imagine what it was like to have bonds, to create life without violence. When she mentioned human parenting, how parents protect their young for years, his voice dropped to a near whisper. "Your kind does not abandon the weak?" "No," Lena said. "We care for them until they can stand on their own." For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, he stepped closer, towering over her. "That is not our way." Before Lena could answer, the walls of the ship shook violently. An alarm, deep and guttural, echoed through the corridors. Karzal's golden eyes flared. "They have found us again," he growled, but this time there was something else in his voice, not just anger, something closer to fear. An unexpected alliance. The walls of the Harrower's ship shook again, harder this time. From somewhere deep inside, a sound rose, not a mechanical alarm, but a low, living roar. The ship itself was angry. Karzal's golden eyes narrowed. "Stay here," he ordered, moving toward the door, but Lena stepped forward. "If they're attacking, I can help." He turned his head slowly, studying her. "You cannot fight them. You are fragile, and you're outnumbered." She shot back. For a moment, his gaze held hers, unreadable. Then he gave a short nod. "Stay close. Do not fall behind." They moved through the shifting corridors. The walls pulsed faster, like a heartbeat in panic. Ahead, the passage opened into a massive chamber filled with strange, half-organic controls. Through a huge, clear wall, Lena saw them, a swarm of silver enemy ships darting between asteroids. Closing in, Karzal moved to the center of the chamber. Placing his hands on 2 black, claw-like controls, the ship responded instantly, as if it were an extension of his own body. Weapons bloomed along the outer hull, firing bolts of red energy that ripped through the enemy ranks. Lena noticed something. He wasn't just attacking randomly. He was putting himself directly between the Odyssey and the incoming ships. Every move was a shield as much as a strike. One enemy ship broke through the barrage and fired a beam straight at them. The Harrower's vessel shuddered violently, throwing Lena off balance. She slipped toward the edge of the platform, straight toward a drop into a pulsing pit of machinery. Before she could fall, a massive clawed hand caught her by the arm. Karzul pulled her back with surprising speed. For a second, they were face to face, close enough for her to see the faint flicker in his molten eyes. Not anger this time. Something sharper, almost protective. He released her quickly and returned to the controls. "Do not fall again," he growled. Though his voice lacked the cold edge it usually had, the enemy fleet regrouped and came in waves. Karzul moved like a hunter, striking, turning, blocking. But Lena could see the strain. His breathing was heavier, his movements slower. The ship itself seemed to be bleeding, dark liquid dripping from cracks in the walls. Without thinking, Lena moved to a smaller set of controls. She couldn't understand the alien symbols, but she recognized patterns. Her fingers flew over the interface, rerouting power to the damaged sections. Karzul glanced at her once, just once, and gave the smallest nod. They were fighting together now. Finally, the last enemy ship broke apart under the Harrowers. Fire! The battlefield fell silent. The great black vessel floated among the wreckage, its red lines dimming as the living walls slowed their frantic pulse. Karzul stepped away from the controls and faced her. "You defended my ship," he said. Slowly, as if testing the words. "You defended mine," she replied. He tilted his head. "Perhaps. Your kind is not as weak as I thought." Before she could answer, a faint signal came through the alien ship's comms. Karzul froze, listening. His eyes widened slightly. The first true surprise Lena had seen in him. "It is impossible," he whispered. Then he turned to her. "A colony, my kind. Still alive." The signal repeated again, low and steady. It wasn't words, it was more like a pulse, a deep rhythm that seemed to echo through the bones. Karzul stood perfectly still, listening. "It is them," he said, voice quieter than Lena had ever heard it. "They should not exist. But they do." Minutes later, the Harrower's ship changed course. They left the asteroid field behind, heading toward a dark, uncharted sector of space. No stars, no planets, only a cold black emptiness. Lena sat in the strange living co-pilot's seat. "Karzul, if this colony is real, what will they think of me?" she asked. He didn't look at her. "They will see you as prey." The words were simple, but they made her grip the armrest tighter. "Then why take me there?" Now he turned, eyes burning gold. "Because they will also see you as mine. That may be the only thing that keeps you alive." Hours later, a shape emerged from the void. A massive station built into the shell of a dead star. It was like a fortress carved from darkness itself. Dozens of alien ships circled it like vultures around a carcass. The Harrower's ship glided toward an opening in the star's surface. As they passed inside, Lena felt the air in her lungs grow heavy. Something about this place pressed on her mind, like invisible claws scraping at her thoughts. The docking bay was vast, lit only by red strips along the walls. When the ship settled, shadows moved around them. Karzul stepped forward, his armor catching the faint light. "Stay behind me. No matter what happens," he said. They exited the ship. The floor beneath them was rough, almost like stone. Figures emerged from the shadows, tall, armored, eyes glowing in different shades. Some hissed softly, others tilted their heads in sharp, bird-like motions. They surrounded the newcomers, weapons in hand. One of them stepped forward, larger than the rest, its eyes a deep amber. "Karzul," it said in a voice like cracking ice. "You live." "And you," Karzul replied. They stared at each other for a long moment. Then the amber-eyed alien's gaze shifted to Lena. Its lips pulled back in something between a grin and a snarl. "You bring food?" Several of the others gave a low laugh. Lena felt every muscle in her body tense. Before she could move, Karzal stepped in front of her, his voice low but lethal. "She is not prey. She is under my protection." The laughter stopped. The amber-eyed alien's expression shifted, not fear, but interest. "You have changed, Karzal. You speak like one of the soft races." Lena couldn't see his face, but she could hear the edge in his voice. "Perhaps I have learned something you have not." They walked deeper into the station, the air thick with heat and a faint scent of blood. Lena noticed the way the others watched her, not just with hunger, but with curiosity. It was as if they couldn't decide if she was a threat, a prize, or both. Finally, they entered a chamber filled with strange black pods along the walls. Some of them moved slightly, as if something was alive inside. Lena looked at them and understood. This was the colony's way of making more of their kind. It was reproduction, but not like anything she had described to Karzal. It was cold, mechanical, and violent. Karzal stepped closer to one of the pods. His hand hovered over it, but he didn't touch. "This is the old way," he said quietly. Then he looked at Lena. "If I teach them the human way, they will change forever." And for the first time she saw it, the doubt in his eyes. The harrower was standing between two paths. One would keep his people strong and feared. The other might make them something new. The decision, the chamber was silent except for the faint, wet sound of the pods shifting. Dozens of Karzal's kind stood in a half-circle around them, their glowing eyes fixed on the harrower. Lena could feel their attention like heat on her skin, sharp, unblinking, waiting for the first mistake. The amber-eyed alien stepped forward. "You left us," it said, voice like stone cracking under pressure. "You hunted alone. You fought alone. And now you return with prey?" "She is not prey," Karzal said. The words came slowly, but there was steel in them. "She is a source of knowledge. Knowledge that can give our kind a future." A low, rumbling growl moved through the crowd. One of the younger warriors stepped forward, eyes burning crimson. "We have a future. We take, we conquer, we survive. This is our way." Karzal's gaze hardened. "It is a way that will end. We are few." He gestured to the pods along the wall. "This is not enough. Our numbers fall every century. Soon there will be none." The amber-eyed alien tilted its head. "And what do you suggest? That we breed like the soft ones? That we keep the weak alive?" "Yes," Karzal said without hesitation. The word hit the room like a blade. The growls turned into shouts, not words Lena could understand, but she didn't need translation. It was anger, disbelief, and something darker, the scent of betrayal. The crimson-eyed warrior raised its weapon. "You would make us soft. You would kill our strength. You are no harrower." Several others stepped forward, weapons flashing in the dim red light. Lena's breath caught. They weren't just going to reject Karzal's idea. They were going to kill him for speaking it. Karzal didn't move. He stood tall, his eyes locked on the warriors. "Strike me, and you destroy the last of your kind who has faced the armies of the Vrotai and lived," he said. His voice was cold, but Lena could hear the strain in it. They weren't afraid of him anymore, not like before. One of the warriors took another step forward, and that's when Lena did the only thing she could think of. She stepped out from behind Karzal, placing herself between him and the weapons. The room froze. The amber-eyed alien's gaze shifted to her. "You protect him? Why?" Lena's voice was steady, though her heart was pounding. "Because he's trying to save you," she said. "Humans know how to survive without killing everything we meet. We know how to grow stronger by protecting each other." The amber-eyed alien looked at her for a long time, then it turned back to Karzal. "You have changed, old hunter," it said. "But change is dangerous." The tension in the room didn't break. If anything, it grew sharper, and Lena knew One wrong move now, and both of them would die before they ever left this place. Asterisk the legacy. The standoff in the chamber lasted longer than Lena expected. No one moved. No one lowered their weapons. The air felt heavy, as if the station itself was holding its breath. Finally, the amber-eyed alien raised one clawed hand. The warriors stepped back, not in surrender, but in restraint. "You may speak," it told Karzal, "but if your words make us weak, we will end you. And you're human." It wasn't permission. It was a warning. Karzal stepped forward, his voice steady. He spoke of survival, not mercy, of strength that came from protecting the young, of war won not only with claws, but with numbers and unity. Lena watched the faces around them, some cold, some thoughtful. One or two seemed to be listening. Most were not. When Karzal finished, there was no applause, no sign of agreement, only silence. Then the amber-eyed alien spoke again. "You may teach, but if we see weakness, we will return to the old ways." It was as close to victory as they would get, and it was fragile, like ice over deep water. Days later, Lena stood in the Harrower's docking bay as the Odyssey prepared to leave. Karzal stood beside her, taller than the rest, his armor still scarred from battle. "You gave me a weapon they do not understand," he said quietly. Lena frowned. "Weapon?" "An idea," he replied. "Ideas can be sharper than any blade. They can also cut the one who holds them." The Odyssey's ramp began to close. Karzal didn't move closer, didn't offer a farewell, just watched her with those molten gold eyes. "We will meet again, Dr. Carter," he said. "And when we do, you will see what your teaching has made of us." The ramp sealed, and the human ship drifted away from the Dead Star's shell. Lena stood on the bridge, looking back at the dark shape of the Harrower station. Somewhere inside, a dangerous species had been given a new path, but whether that path would lead to peace or something far worse, no one could yet know.